All right, let's go over my heart throughout my life. One, I just saw this fucking little kid. Um, I don't know how old, maybe 7, 8 years old. Uh, he goes into this corner store. He's buying all his fucking ice. He's buying 3 different ice creams for his, I guess his mom. I didn't know this at the time, but his mom and his little sister are outside. His little sister's like in a fucking stroller, right? Anyway, he bought 3 of them. It ended up being $6. Apparently, they had only given him 5. He had to go back outside, get an extra dollar. Then he comes back in. He gets the fucking ice cream, and then he's walking out right as I'm walking out. And I don't know if they were speaking Spanish. I don't know exactly what country, but more than likely either Central or Mexican. So anyway, what hurts about it is I grew up like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, he kind of just the mother asked him. Apparently, he was supposed to grab these other ones, and he's just like, this is what you got, which I just thought was kind of funny. But then also, then the mother was kind of like, what about the fucking, she didn't say this at all. She's like this, but she said, what about the spoon? And then he just opens the lid and shows her that there's a spoon in the lid, and then like they all walk away. And I just thought it was funny in a certain sense of the male being questioned, yet he basically did and got everything, that everybody really wanted. So anyway, my heart, because a lot of the symptoms that I have are, realistically, these are all feelings that I've had throughout my entire lifetime, as far as the symptoms and certain things that have happened in my body. And so I want to kind of, document it, because I was going through it in my head. And let me see if I could do it a little bit more, just document it. Anyway, so I guess I would summarize and say I've definitely had circulation problems. I feel like when I was a kid, there were times that I remember being very conscious of my heartbeat. The circulation problems didn't probably happen until probably around like 2000-ish or so. So 2000 or so, physically, I felt probably medium. Not my best, not my worst. Probably once around 2002-ish or so, like graduation. Also, again, probably medium-ish, medium to medium high or whatever. But I definitely didn't feel like all that great. What I do know is, to kind of summarize it, is right around, I believe 2006-ish or 2005-ish, somewhere around there. That's where I really felt similarly to where I feel now, where it's like I was fine at work and I was fine basically moving around. What I couldn't do though is walk for extended periods of time. Like I didn't necessarily get short of breath or anything, but I couldn't do it. Like I just couldn't do it. I got very, very, very fucking weak. And it's somewhat similar to now. Basically, one of the main reasons I bought that scooter, the first time I got a scooter, was because of that. Because I felt physically like I couldn't fucking walk. And it was like the weirdest thing. Like even just walking 1 or 2 blocks was killing me. Yeah, I could get through my day at work. I could do like a whole bunch of other shit. But I couldn't like even just walk around here. So anyway, so that was definitely, that was happening. So that happened around 2005, 2006. Also, my stress level was really, really kind of, higher, I guess. So definitely I do think there's obviously a connection with at least me and stress and how quickly it affects my heart. Because that's actually happened before. So that was, like I said, 2005, maybe anywhere between 2004 to 2006-ish. I really felt like I was like an old man. Like I felt like physically it was weird, like I said. So there's that. And then, basically when I started yoga, that was kind of, I would say, my peak health. Like from 2007 to 2009-ish. Basically from 2007 to maybe 2013, maybe, or 2012-ish. I was physically, I was great. I was like fucking the best, probably. Like it was just, I didn't have really any problems physically whatsoever. then I've been feeling from there. I've been feeling, basically fine. It was somewhat declining in health, like definitely not as strong. But I will say, then at the beginning of 2020, right before I had the heart failure, right before I got sick, basically, because I basically what happened was January or so, I was feeling amazing. I was feeling absolutely amazing. I was working this job on a factory line in the cold weather. And I brought in New Year's. I brought in New Year's working, which is, whatever. Anyway, I brought in New Year's working in the fucking cold. And physically I felt, it's kind of this weird thing where, I no joke, I did feel like that job was killing me. But what I was also surprised was of how much I was able to do considering my age. And I don't like fucking the cold weather and all of this shit. So... I would say, I was feeling I thought I was feeling great at the beginning of 2020-ish or so. And then from then on, it's just been this constant decline, obviously. And then I had the heart failure. And now what I would say where I'm at is basically where I was in 2006-ish, 2005-ish, I guess, 2005 or 2006, maybe 2007, where I couldn't explain what was happening. Now at least I have some kind of explanation of what was happening, but I would have my limbs go numb every once in a while. Sometimes it feels as if I've had a little mini stroke. It's kind of weird. Sometimes it's just it's weird. It'll feel as if I've had a mini stroke is the best way I could put it, where it's I even have numbness for a little bit. It doesn't seem as if I've ever lost full where you can't even speak or whatever, or you can't even think properly. Apparently you can still think properly, but you're not able to speak properly. So I don't that hasn't really happened. But right now in my left arm, right where my forearm kind of meets where my elbow would be, there's there feels like there's basically, if I was gonna explain it, it feels like the veins or kind of stretched a little bit, or I guess the veins or the arteries or whatever, but there's basically a line that goes up. It's similar to what I've heard is described happens when you're gonna have a heart attack or whatever, where it's this I guess a feeling of current goes through you, and it will kind of go through your arm or whatever, and it's like that, but it's much slower, and it doesn't reach the chest area or whatever. But also the cramping, that's not something that's new necessarily. The medication, it's always been in conjunction with how I'm feeling physically right now. And so that also goes back to 2005, 2006 is when I was feeling, basically I was dying. Granted, I was also a little bit overweight. I think I was 20 to 25 pounds overweight. And the working, I worked myself back into it. But I will say the losing the weight at that point in time felt very similar to trying to kind of bring myself back to health up to a certain point when I got out of the hospital, in the sense of it was very baby steps. I had to accept that I couldn't walk as fast, or I couldn't walk, at that point it was, at least there I was jogging, but I couldn't even, there was a point I couldn't even jog half a block. I couldn't even do that. And that was very, very odd. And that's where I'm at right now, where it's right now, realistically, I couldn't jog half a block, but I know why. But what I could do, I could still dance through a song. You know what I mean? Somehow or another, it's not necessarily about accelerating my heart in certain ways. But in other ways, there's just no way that I can do it. I can't do it. There's definitely, so there's that. So I don't know, let me summarize it again. Basically, as a child, there were definitely times where I had kind of numbness in certain limbs. So I would, looking back at it, I could say that it felt as if there were certain kind of circulation problems. Definitely not as much heart fibrillations or things like that, but there was, I remember a point in time in my life where I was very conscious of my heartbeat, and I felt as if I would feel it a lot, and even right now, this feeling that I'm having where as I'm speaking, my right arm has what's happening. What I tried to describe earlier, and it feels as if it's a combination of maybe muscle fatigue, or like it feels like it's a combination of happening in the muscle, but also something that I don't know my anatomy that well, but it's something that transcends the muscle as well. So it's kind of like that whatever connects to two different muscles. And so to me, it seems as if it would be the blood flow, like the arteries, because that's what it feels like. It feels like it's something's happening with the blood flow. Anyway, it's a kind of, I will say, it's the kind of pains that I know that when I've read and heard describe heart attacks and strokes, that are indicative of those things happening, except that they've been happening pretty much my entire life, so I've always kind of disregarded them, because I've always been able to survive them, and they obviously haven't gotten to the intensity. But anyway, that has been happening since I was a child. More recently as an adult, I would say, up to about 2006-ish or 2004-ish, I felt decent, with one kind of high point where I was working out and kind of going to the gym a lot, but I wouldn't say it was the high points of how I felt physically, but I definitely felt better. But then 2004 to maybe 2006 or so, I felt as if I was dying, and it made no sense, but it was very similar to almost everything that I went through with the heart failure, in a much more not as intense, and definitely not as in as short of a time frame, but definitely all the same things, I kind of got through that, and then started yoga, and then yoga really did. I still, to this is kind of the weirdest thing, is it really physically changed everything. Where I had been working out before, and I had times where I felt very healthy. Yoga, I felt the most healthiest for a while. So I had about 3 or 4 years of that, or more than that, to basically around 2012, 2013, where I started physically again feeling fairly weak. But then I did things to kind of offset it, up to, I would say, 2020, where I actually did feel, at the beginning of 2020, I felt surprisingly healthy. I was like, wow, considering the way I've lived in my life, and at the time I wasn't working out necessarily, like steadily or whatever, and I definitely wasn't doing yoga as much, but it seemed as if I was doing everything just enough that I was, like I said, surprisingly healthy. But then then basically I did that one job where I was working in a factory line in cold weather, as well as eating fucking literally McDonald's every day. I was definitely under a lot of stress, and then I felt as if I definitely did get the flu. I got the flu. That particular flu really fucked me up. Like, it really fucked me up in January of 2020. And I never felt like I recovered from that flu at all. And then by May, it was obvious that I had congestive heart failure. And then in June, I went to the hospital. And that's where I'm at now, where now about a year and a few months later, even like it is what it is. Like, I feel surprisingly healthy, considering everything I've gone through. But yesterday was a pretty horrible fucking day. And what I'm saying is basically it's I'm not sure where I'm at physically. Basically, so if I'm feeling the same how I was in 2006, but with medication, but this medication is making it's not really it has a limit, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know. That's good. I guess I'm starting point. I guess it is what it is. It's just that I think what it is that every time that I get optimistic and I'm like, no, Charlie, really, like, come on, actually everything's fine. Like I said, I get reminded that it's very rare, even within the last couple of months, for me to go an entire week without being very aware of the fact that I have heart failure. So, and like, pretty scary, like, at least, fighting for my life kind of scary. Like, literally, like, making that whole decision of, like, what am I really going to call an ambulance right now? I really think I gotta really start thinking about this. Like, I still really do gotta fucking figure out this life alert shit, yo. Because, like I said, the good and bad is, there was, what's scaring me is that there was a point in time where it seemed somewhat logical and okay for me to do what I been doing of like, yo, realistically I can make it through this, because the consequences are coming much more intensely when they do come. So anyway, this was 15 minutes as I was waiting for the bus. This was also kind of like a fucking documentation of just fucking how long it takes me to do certain things, because I still gotta fucking get home and cook, and that's probably gonna take at least another 20 to 30 minutes, and then I really we'll see if I can finish this fucking, it's crazy, but it's also, it just is what it is. It's stressful. It's hard to really get myself in the mindset to just do it, but I have other things to do that are much more serious, and I do need to figure out. Also, I guess what it is too is like while I'm doing this shit, my mother fucking texted me, and I don't know if she, because that's the thing, this isn't new as far as like the disregard for my fucking health, and I don't know if my mother has some, because I do find it odd. One of the things I find very odd, when I was in the hospital, I'm hooked up to all the fucking machines and everything, and there were quite a few times where I was very stressed out. I was very pissed, like literally, to the most intense that you can be, and somehow or another, I didn't notice any changes in my heart rate or anything, and like, that wasn't my focus because I was focused on what was going on, but it is kind of odd to I guess be that amount of angry and literally no change in heart rate was, I don't know, but anyway, because anyway, like the complete disregard for my stress level throughout my entire life, like I said, regardless of anything, is curious to my mother, because she is as if it's like her and everybody else too, though, in my family as well. It's like they expect me to just be able to put up with everything, like just absolute. It's like the little game of how far can we push Charlie, because realistically, apparently, he can put up with fucking everything. Anyway, summary of my health, and I gotta redo this though, because I do have it's a weird conclusion when I'm thinking about it, because if I guess is the history repeats itself, then that's where I'm at. But again, it's still a shortened timeline, so it's all the fucking same shit. Anyway, yeah.